So it's basically like an assassin ADC patch notes for anybody that doesn't know. Hi YouTube. Should I do this for YouTube? Make a YouTube video out of it? Alright, maybe. I'll upload it later today probably. Anyways, we'll just start, I guess. Basic changes, these are just general changes. CC immunity being decreased. So this is all CC cleanses, which I assume includes Chimera, which is actually kind of a huge nerf to any CC immunity item, where it gets reduced by 50% of the duration. So it's a lot harder to pre-cleanse, which I don't know if I like or dislike. We'll see how that one feels. I feel like that's kind of just a straight-up Chimera nerf and a like a Liberator nerf, because those are the main two classes that you built it on. I guess you go, what's the jungle item sometimes? Steel buff? That is a steel buff. It's just like you could still cleanse stuff like early, but it's like the window is so much harder now. If you're not playing on 150 frames, good luck. 150 frames, no ping, good luck. I actually kind of, I don't think I like that change, to be honest, personally. But that's just me. And I come from Smite, so in Smite you have 2 seconds to pre-bead shit, so you know, I don't know. I kind of dislike that change, at least on paper. Maybe playing with it, it'll be fine. But range basic attacks, they increase the projectile speed by like 50, not 50, like 30%. Is that right? There's like 30% somewhere around there. Don't know how that's going to feel. They did lower the projectile radius, which means that like the projectile is smaller. So they're faster but smaller. I hope it doesn't feel hit scan. That's all I got to say about that, really. I hope it feels good. I haven't played on it, so I don't really know. Drongo passive. Hold on. I should probably actually, let me move this to my other screen so I can read Drongo passive real quick, just so I don't mess up. Which means I'm not going to really be reading chat as much. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Drongo passive. What is even Drongo passive? The damage equal to his critical strike. Did they increase the bleed on this at all? No, it just doesn't do damage based on crit strike. It's so weird. Anyways, gas grenade doing damage. Literally best ability in the game. Why would you do that? Changes that a nerf to auto attack penalty is concerning. Well, I mean, you can only auto like 3-4 times. We'll see how it feels in game. I'm sure it'll probably be fine though. I don't think they would put out something that's not good. I would hope. If not, it'd probably get reverted in the follow-up patch, you know. So we'll see. It also changes mage autos too, which is important to note, and like range supports. What's up, Glavis? Are you getting an ad? I don't know what to tell you, man. They buffed Drongo Q. Yeah, they gave it damage basically, and it applies the dot damage from his passive every 0.5 seconds. So it just reapplies the passive over and over again, which is kind of nuts. The boomerang increased the damage, increased the scaling, lowered the cooldown late game, but buffed the increased it early game. So like level 1, 2, it's worse. Any point after that, it's better. So like level like 6, it starts to outscale what it used to be. And then they buffed the rad rounds initial hit. So if you hit one person with rad rounds, it does an extra 10 damage for one shot. Didn't increase the consecutive shots. The shrapnel cannon increased damage, increased scaling. You're literally just gonna blow people up now, honestly. Best basic ability in the game. Yeah, Drongo grenade is nuts. I don't know why they did this. They nerfed the passive and buffed the ability to compensate. Yeah, but I don't think the passive actually makes that big of a difference, because I don't think you really like cared that much about crit anyways. And the passive wasn't all about a lot of like the passive wasn't as much damage as you're getting from this. Like the passive is like 30% of your crit chance, so you're getting an extra like 10, 15 damage. These are like, this alone is more than what the passive would have been by itself. Like the gag grenade doing extra damage is more than what you would have got from your passive alone. But this also means you proc your passive again with the gag grenade, because now the gag grenade does damage, so it reapplies your passive on top of that. So like whatever your base number is now, is like you're just doing way more damage now, which is kind of nuts, because you already did a lot. Gadget, they nerfed gadget health, nerfed her shield, and the damage from the shield. Honestly, I don't, good changes, I guess. I kind of don't like the health change. I would have preferred more of the shielding change. Like I would have preferred the shield to go down to 9% as opposed to the health going down personally, but that's just me. People think Drongo's bad. True. Very true. They're gonna nerf him the next 3 patches after everybody plays him again. That's just how it goes, dude. That's just how it goes. Let's see, Gideon. They lowered the base damage on the ult, and they increased the scaling, so it's better. It's like better late game, but worse early game, which I mean is good. It also means you can't build full tank, so you can't go like True Silver, Rainment, and shit like that, and be like full tank but still one-shot people. So I mean that's a good change in my opinion. Makes mages more of a mage. They fixed the shield on this. I guess it was scaling like differently, so like it scales by like 55 here, like on every rank up or some shit like that. And then it scales like more consistently now, which is good, I guess. I didn't even know that was a thing, but sure. I wish he got nerfed a little more because they're later in the patch you'll see they nerf breach and they removed the anti-shielding from the game. So I wish they kind of nerfed it a little bit more. They also didn't say, it doesn't seem like they fixed a bug where your right click hits multiple people either, which I would like to see fixed. Reload, so you can reload instantly now after your 4th shot. Apparently right now, after the 4th shot, there's a delay between when you can reload. Now you can just insta reload if you're fast enough with your right click. It's just a quality of life change, I think, which is good. Should be making her mana regen slower as she levels, which is good. And then they made it so the E only applies 4 hits instead of 6, because currently I guess it's bugged and applying 6 instead of 4, which also means you get less stacks of your passive, which is kind of like a 30% damage decrease from her E. They also made it so the cooldown starts after the cast instead of at the beginning, which means you're going to get it a lot less often, which means you're not going to restack the shields if you have full cooldown, which is actually huge nerfs, even though they aren't actually touching her numbers. This will actually put her a lot more in line with some of the other characters in the game, and I think will actually make her pretty balanced. I think these are actually great changes without actually like directly touching her numbers. And then Sparrow, they buffed the right click damage in the scaling, but they decreased it based on like so it does more damage when you have your passive, right? They decrease the amount that you get from your passive, but increase the base numbers. So I mean, I think that's just a straight buff, honestly. But then they changed the ult movement speed to 3%. I didn't even know it gave movement speed because I don't fucking play Sparrow, and I don't ever see Sparrow even in my games. I didn't even know it gave movement speed. Kind of weird to make it 3%, but you know, they can leave it where it's at. All right, now actual item changes. Oh my god, there's so many of these, bro. There's so many item changes. Brutal Axe, obviously with the CC immunity nerf, that hurts it. They give it, they decrease lifesteal a little bit, give it some power. They give it less attack speed just to prevent EDCs from having it. It's still gonna be good, I think. I think it's still gonna be really good. Pretty running people down with that nerf. Who was gonna be running people down? The 3%. I don't know. I gotta look at some of the other items because I think some of the other items still give movement speed. So they just didn't want it to stack with the some of the other movement speed items. Eviscerator, they give Eviscerator lifesteal. Remove the crit chance, obviously, from all the ADC crests, which might actually make it more of like a Kalari item, I'm pretty sure. And like Chimera type item, I feel like will actually be pretty good on those characters. Because I think Eviscerator procs on the knife throw, which might actually be kind of tech. Well, I'll mess around with that at some point. But then they increased the initial scaling, lowered the what's called scaling per shot. I don't know. We'll see how this actually affects characters. Mainly like Chimera, I think, is a character I'm looking at for this item. It'll still be good on Sparrow, but I think Chimera is the one I'm looking for. Kalari mid come to begin here. I don't think I'm playing Kalari mid, man. They made Ice Core and only proc off physical power. This is actually such a good change. This is such a good change. So it's not increased damage anymore, which means it's not increasing your base numbers. It's also not increasing magical power, which is very nice. It also means it's harder to build on certain characters. Like Rampage, for example, who's mainly magical damage. Will not really be able to build this item as easily anymore. Also means you're not going to shred objectives if you like double stack this with your soul laner and your jungler. You can't just proc it and just fucking 2-tap the objective. Good change, in my opinion. Liberator, they gave it a little bit more lifesteal, took the crit off of it, a little more power. Cool. Along with the CC immunity nerf, I don't really expect this item to really be built that much, to be honest. I just don't know why you would build this over Brutal Axe at pretty much any point in the game. Because you look at the base stats, like Brutal Axe just gives you like more power, slightly 3% less lifesteal, but you get attack speed. And they both cleanse cleanse things. So I don't know why you would build that item over Brutal Axe personally. I don't know why you do that. Not as good on Crunch. Crunch does physical damage crazy. Although it doesn't increase your true damage, though. Technically, I guess. And I think this item is actually going to be, like, terrible now, to be honest. Or I don't think terrible, but it's going to be very character-specific. Like, Grux only, basically. Like, it's very character-specific now, I think. It's actually, like, a huge nerf, even if it doesn't seem like it. This change, I just don't think Liberator is going to be built over Brutal X. I just don't know why you would build this. It doesn't give you anything. It gives you the shield, I guess. I don't think Brutal X gives you a shield. He scales on AP. Yeah, he scales on AP, but his damage is physical. So like, even though you scale off AP, your damage is physical, so it's still like it increases your physical damage. So if you hit somebody with your Q, even though it scales off AP, that AP scaling comes out as physical when it hits somebody. If that makes sense, crazy. Ortis. They like completely changed this item. I don't even know what the item is right now. I just never see it. Oh, it's like you get movement speed and then your next autos attack do more damage, right? Now it just gives you increased passive, increased damage, and then if you get kills, you permanently gain power, kind of like Obelisk, which I think is kind of nuts if you can actually snowball with it, but it seems more of like a pub stomp item. It does refresh the duration, though, if you get a kill, which is also kind of nuts. Kind of like Pacifier, which is pretty sweet. The increased Pacifier took the crit chance off, gave it 5 power. I still don't see why you're building this item, other than just having a dash, but like, I don't think you really need it. Personally, this is a good change too. Actually, this is a really good change. What's up, Grady? Just went through the notes. They're interesting changes. Yeah, reading through them right now. Well, reading through them on stream. I read through them earlier today, before I got on. Rudy's cooldowns too. Wait, what Rudy's cooldowns? Oh, Ortis. Did it? I actually didn't know that. I don't see anybody build it though, so it's probably a good change. But we'll see how OP this is. 10% increased physical power is kind of nuts. Like, I feel like a lot of these items are really good on Kalari. Like, this type of item, I feel like would be kind of nuts on Kalari. If you can start scaling. What's it called? Liberator, Pacifier, we haven't over that. I don't think 5 power is equal to minus 20% crit chance, by the way. So I just don't see the ADC crest being that good. See it on Fang occasionally. I feel like you always just go Brutal X for the cleanse, honestly. This is a great change, though. It's basically, they took the cripple away. This item used to be, like, you hit somebody, it cripples them. Now it, first of all, they gave it ability haste, which is good. So you get cooldown from it. And now it's a cleanse on yourself and your allies and heals. One thing I will say, though, I don't know if this heal is going to be enough to kill the other healing item. Was it Tranquility? It's kind of weird that this item heals, because I think that just kind of makes it always better than Tranquility. I don't know why you would ever go Tranquility when you can cleanse and heal instead of just healing, even if the heal is slightly more. I think this is always just better. Silentium, they just give it haste and lower the magical armor. It's fine. It's still a great item. Actually, just better now, I think, on characters like Decker support and stuff like that. Even like Richter, getting extra cooldown on Richter, getting like a double silence is actually really good. But I'm pretty sure this reclamation item is actually just gonna be the go-to for the most part. Spell Slasher, they just give it some cooldown to make it a better, like, more attractive tier 1 item. Cool, I guess. I still don't think you're really building this first on any of the items that actually build into it. I think this is actually a nerf to one of the items later that I'll talk about when we get to it. But yeah, I mean, it's just giving it cooldown to make it more attractive. They changed Claymore, so it's no longer going into Bonesaw. Is that right? And now builds into a crit item. I actually don't know what crit items this goes into. I kind of wish it would tell you what items it built into in here, but that's alright. They basically just a crit item now. Which, I mean, is fine. Crit attack speed. Wait, no. Sorry, crit power. Hero Guard costs less, but they give it tenacity, but it loses the Bravery passive. I'm pretty sure the Bravery passive is, you get cleansed, right? It's a CC cleanse. I kind of think this is a nerf. Actually, I think CC cleanse is better than tenacity, but you know, it's better, I guess, if you're not getting the proc, but I don't know. I think it's kind of a nerf. Is the cleanse? Yeah, I think it's kind of a nerf. Or did anyone ever go Guardian Crest? All that stuff is worse. Well, Riftwalkers is pretty good, crazy, I think. Like, if you Riftwalker into a Richter All or something like that, I feel like that's pretty nuts. Or Riftwalker into, like, a Seal Stone. Like, you can get some pretty good stuff with Riftwalker. But I don't know. But yeah, I think this is kind of a nerf to Hero Guard. This, every sexual attack does 20 plus 30 bonus physical power. So as far as I'm aware, the change is that this does physical damage now. Let me actually look real quick. Is that the change? It does physical damage now? I couldn't figure out what the change was earlier. Instead of magical. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, so the change, it does more base damage and scales off physical power less. So like the base number is higher, but the scaling is less, but it does physical damage instead of magical. That's what I thought. So that's like a weird change. Scott Spotify. Let me fix it real quick. Sorry about that. Should be good now. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, I mean, cool, I guess. I think this is actually like kind of a good change because it means you can't go as many physical characters. Like you can't just go double ADC or something and then still have magical damage. It's a displacement as well. What's a displacement? No, Riftwalkers, yeah. Throw in their in 2 second silence or a cleanse heal. I mean, I'm just saying I think there is like some benefit to it. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, this is tier 2 Sky Splitter. They basically give it attack speed, and they took the crit off of it. Or, not the crit. What did they do? Wait, did they actually not change the passive at all? Hold on. Did they take the passive off this? If they didn't take the passive off, this is still, like, really good. I thought they took the passive off of this. But it looks like they just changed what it builds off of. Which, I don't know how that's going to do. It's hard to see, like, some of these changes, because, it's reworked, but I don't know how different of a rework is. I think they took the passive off of it, which if they did, it's a good change. If they didn't take the passive off it, I kind of dislike that. They removed the passive? Okay. Yeah, if they removed the passive, I think it's good. Good change. Passive was kind of busted. 2% on a tier 2 item of your health every attack. Kind of busted. They changed this. You don't get, like, attack speed when you hit people now. You just get extra crit chance. Not attack speed. You don't get movement speed. You used to get movement speed when you hit people with this for a couple seconds. Now you just get extra attack speed and crit. And they took the passive off. Kind of wish they didn't take so many passives off tier 2s. I kind of like tier 2 spikes, but I think this one was fine. I mean, they removed it. It is what it is. What's up, Paru? Just reading patch notes. You're going to be all over there in the game. I think it only affects, like, ADC and jungle. I don't think it affects any other role, to be honest. Ruined Bow. I didn't even know this item was in the game, to be honest. I don't even know what this item builds into. But they lowered the attack speed, made it more cost efficient. 800 gold for 25% attack speed seems pretty good. I don't even know what it builds into. I don't play ADC. Soul Chalice. They gave it haste, but lowered the power. And then they made it so killing minions grant power. Is this not what it did before? Is this not what it already did? Let me look it up. Yeah, this already gives you crit chance. Sorry, it gives you crit chance before. I didn't realize that. So it gives you power now instead of crit, which is actually like kind of a huge buff, actually. Especially for a tier 2. Kind of a huge buff. Especially in jungle. Just like kind of big on jungle. Absolution. Ooh, this item is so like... This item looks so giga busted on paper, to be honest with you. Like, so giga busted. Like, you just get insane attack speed, and then you get 25% mitigation and 40% movement speed when you get affected by a hard CC. 25% damage mitigation is, like, kind of nuts. Like, you build this on, like, a jungler, it is insane. Or, like, an ADC, you just get 25% mitigation when the soul laner goes on you is kind of nuts. Okay, it looks Turgo giga busted. Dude, I didn't even think about building this item on Chimera, actually. It is actually, like, a nuts item. Like, this is actually insane. Like, it's 40% movement speed, but it's for 3 seconds, and you're hit by a CC, so it's really only like 2 seconds, right? Because you're CC'd for a little bit. It's just very weird. But the 25% mitigation is actually nuts. Like, that actually seems insane. And then you get extra attack speed when you're low HP, so it's always giving you value. Is like nuts. And then base stats-wise, like 40 power, 25, and some magical power, with tenacity on top of that, is insane. Like, this item is actually giga busted. This setup literally just has everything. Like, it literally has everything in the game. They just threw all the stats on this item. I don't know what this item even is. This item needs to be nerfed, I think. Crunch, Bruiser, Fang, Grux. Grux is actually going to be nuts on, too. You're going to be tanky without building defense, because you're just going to have mitigations. This is actually insane. This is an insane change. What is this? This is, you get passive stacks. So before it would lower your cooldowns. Ashbringer would lower your cooldowns when you hit auto attacks. Now it does that, but every time you hit somebody, it gives you another stack that further increases the amount of cooldown that you get per auto attack, while also giving you extra damage on hit for each stack of the passive that you have on somebody, which is good. I mean, it's just more on hit damage, but you still get like more cooldown or whatever. I don't think this item really changes too much. I guess they did remove the pen from it, right? This item used to give pen. Interesting. It doesn't have pen on it, actually, which is kind of interesting. No pen, no crit. I think it's a good change, but I don't know how it's going to feel. 3,400 gold's a lot. It depends on how much this, like, 15 plus 5 actually matters. Because it'll end up going up to 35, right? So, like, I don't know. We'll see how much of a difference that makes. Hopefully it doesn't make Drongo giga busted, bro. I don't need to get hit by Drongo's gag grenade over and over again. That shit is busted. Hopefully he's not building this shit. Hopefully it's too expensive for him. It's very good for Kai. Is this just a Chimera buff, dude? It is kind of giga, but it is good on Kai, actually, now that I think about it. Is it just a Chimera patch? Gag grenade change is so good. Bro, I already thought Drongo was like the best mid, or the best ADC. If not second best. I don't know why they buffed him, dude. That change is so bad for the game, in my opinion. It's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. Anyways, augmentation. Basically, they gave it the Spellblade passive instead of extra damage on hit. I mean, this is fine. It's a bit of a weird change because I'm pretty sure they already had one of these items, so now they have two. Just a weird change. Went from Giga Strong to illegal. That's what I'm saying, Gretty. This is a weird change, though. I don't really know why they did this, but it's fine, I guess. They removed the attack speed, though, which is good. I don't know. This is a very weird change. It's like a Fang Mao item now, I think. You build this Fang Mao. 40 power, some cooldown, then you get like increased on your autos. Interesting to note, though, that it is true damage, which is pretty nuts. Actually, I didn't realize that this was true damage. True damage is kind of nuts. 60% physical power true damage. That's like 250, 280, something like that. It's because they changed Painweaver. We'll get to that when we get to that, Grady. I forgot to even change that shit. There's so many items in this fucking changed in this patch. This item is insane. I think this item's actually gonna be busted. I'm telling you, Bonesaw, top tier item next patch. When I read this, it's actually insane. So you get basically you get attack speed when you hit people, right? And you get lifesteal, 600 HP. 600 HP, by the way. You're gonna build this on junglers and ADCs, and you are gonna be impossible to kill. You're gonna build Bonesaw plus this item, where you get extra tenacity and shit. You are gonna be unkillable. You're gonna have 600 HP plus 25% mitigations. You're gonna have crazy attack speed. This gives lifesteal too, so you can go this earlier. Insane item. Insane item. Insane item. I'm pretty sure the build is gonna be like double. Like, you're gonna be a tank ADC basically. Have fun dealing with tank ADCs with on-hit effects. Because that's basically what it's gonna be. So they changed Breach. Breach no longer does damage to... so it has 25% pen instead of 35. That's first change. But it gives a little bit of flat pen. And it does not do damage to shields anymore. Instead, you get extra pen stacking when you hit somebody. Only with basics, which is important to note. So you can't, like, it's not as good on, like, you can't, like, Fang Mao combo somebody and insta-stack 3 times off, like, the right-click passive in your E. So, like, that's good to note. But you do extra damage based on the armor of the other person. Like, it's an on-hit based on their armor. So if they have 200 armor, you're doing, 70 on-hit damage. Because it does 35% of their physical armor. Cool. Makes you hit tanks hard, I guess. I don't know how much this is actually going to matter, but we'll see. They kind of want you to build it with Demolisher, I'm pretty sure, because I think you can stack up to 50% flat pen. Or percent pen. Anyways, Demolisher. Crit chance up to 25% from 20. That's a good change, because they're removing some of the crits. It's down to 2,900 gold, though, which is actually super cheap. and it makes your next crit hit do bonus damage on a cooldown instead of coming out of like coming into combat for the first time. So instead of your first hit, it's just every 12 seconds. I think it's a buff in team fights. They did nerf the pen though to 25% like they did to Breach. So we'll see. They really don't like tanks in this game. I mean, it's an ADC jungler patch, so like it's gonna be anti-tank. Like those are your anti-tank characters, so like it makes sense that tanks would be. I don't want to say nerfed in this patch, but like the items would counter tanks, like because that's what they're designed to do. Like the Demon Edge change. Hold on, let me read it. Let me read it. It costs 400 gold more. This is like super deceptive, by the way. When they change gold prices from like 200-300, like that might not seem like a lot, but that actually can make a huge difference on how the game plays. Anyways, they took on, you get Omnivamp base now, but they lowered the passive, so you get more Omnivamp initially, as well as more upfront power, as opposed to power from the passive, which I think is good, but I don't know how good that's actually going to be. But it's more like upfront, less from the passive at below 40% HP. So I think it's overall good, but we'll see how much of a difference that actually makes. It is 400 gold more expensive now. They removed the pen from it. Did they remove the pen? They did remove the pen. And that might actually make the item bad. Not gonna lie. Removing the pen actually kind of makes the item bad. We'll see how that actually plays out in game though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Omnivamp is actually just that busted. They lowered the slow on Dreambinder to 1 second from 1.5. I didn't even see people building this to begin with, so I don't know where they're saying it's like its duration was too strong. I don't know where they're even seeing that, where they're getting that from, but I didn't even see anybody build this item in the first place, so I don't really get that change. Just Shimby. I don't even think it was good on Shimby, to be honest. I think you have better items than Dreambinder. But we're probably getting run down. I feel like that's more of like a casual getting frustrated at the item as opposed to the item actually being good. Strong gadget. I don't even think it was. I think you just do more damage with other stuff. Like I don't think the slow is the difference there. I feel like you just kill people as opposed to slowing them. I think it's more of like a frustrating item than like an actual good item. Dust Devil. I actually think this item is just straight up buffed. They did take the movement speed off of it, but like you still get the movement speed from the passive, so you lose like 3%, I think, was the base. Absolution is nuts. Yeah, we've talked about this already, Survivor. Absolution plus Bone Saw is going to be disgusting. Your Dust Devil lover? I'm pretty sure this item is buffed. I'm pretty sure it's actually just a straight buff. Like, you get more attack speed, more crit chance. You lose 3% movement speed, but like, who cares? 3% really isn't making a big difference. But you still keep the passive when you fully stack it, which is good. They did lower the passive a little bit, though. It used to be 30, now it's 25. So we'll see. And crits grant 2 stacks, which is actually, I'm pretty sure, is new. Is that true? 2 is new. Like, I'm pretty sure this is like this part is new, which is good. Good for crit heroes, I guess, that want attack speed. Imperator, they removed the perfection passive. This is like they do your crits do more damage, right? The perfection is your crits do more damage. Oh, it used to only stack per crit? I actually didn't know that. Now it just stacks off regular autos, like without critting? Okay. That's good to know, Grady. Thank you. I didn't know that's how it worked. Anyway, still great item. I think it's actually still just a good item. They just increase the crit chance, increase the power. I think if this doesn't increase your crit damage anymore, it's actually just a terrible item. 3,400 gold for 60 power and 25% crit chance. You could just get a better item. Like, just buy a better item. Like, where is it? Like, even Demolisher, just getting 45 power with 25% crit for 300 less gold is... sorry, 500 less gold with the actual passive on Demolisher is always going to be better. Like, I think Imperator is actually just unbuildable now. I think it's actually kind of troll. I just don't think it's a good item anymore. Them removing the increased crit damage is questionable. I just think it makes the item unbuildable. Like, it's basically you're just building a 60 power stat stick for 3,400 gold, which I don't think is enough. Because every other item gives you like 45, 50. Or like actual like good stats and passives. This item is kind of just unbuildable now, I think. It's more just like a... I feel like there is a placeholder item. Like, they made it so it's not a must-buy for crit users, but I think if you're going crit, it's bad. We're wrong. Wait, what is it? Hold on. Let me go look it up real quick. Is that not what it is? Oh, perfections, you get bonus power from crit chance. Okay, never mind. Sorry, it's still buildable then. It's still buildable then. I forgot it even had a second passive. Sorry, you're right. You're right. Sorry. My mistake. My mistake. It actually doesn't matter then, yeah. It's still fine. It's still fine then, never mind. It's still fine. I thought they removed the increased damage and left the power on it, dude. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that is terrible. Never mind. I misunderstood. Sorry. Glad we checked it. Glad we checked it. Every item has 20 passives. That's not true. Some items don't have multiple passives. Wait till you see some of these other items. Crazy. There's an item that gets like 3 passives later. You're going to lose your mind. I think it's Kingsbane, actually. No. Is it? It's one of the items that's coming up. Anyways, Infernum. Basically, you hit somebody. It stacks. After X amount of stacks, it does dot damage over 2 seconds. It's more like a Feng Mao Kalari type item. Going to be pretty strong, I think. I don't know. 120% total power. It'll do like an extra 300, 400, 500 damage, whatever, late game. I think it could add a lot of burst. But we'll see how good it actually is. Firm is free Elder buff. Well, yeah, but you have to hit somebody 4 times. So, like, you know, there's that. It's also not true damage, I believe. And only based off your physical power, not off the game clock. So, pretty sure it's less than Elder, but it is, like, I don't know. We'll see how good this item actually is. I don't know if it's good or not, because I don't know if you're really, like, when you're engaging, I don't think you really need the dot damage to actually kill somebody. Like, I feel like you just get a more, like, high-power item. It does have 20 haste, though, which is kind of nice. Like, if you're playing, like, Feng Mao or something. 20 haste is actually, like, a lot. Kingsbane, it does extra damage, magical damage. Important to note, it is magical. And then you get base health regen on hit instead of, like, lifesteal. So you get lifesteal, plus you get 15% bonus power health. So it's just like a flat heal, and then your lifesteal on top of that. I don't know how this is going to actually change it. I don't know if it makes it better or worse. It does give attack speed, though, now, which is kind of cool, I guess. We'll see. This might actually be pretty good with the bone saw that we were talking about earlier. Sweet Coffee, thank you for the follow. Was that men instead of health on Infernum? Because it's a jungler item? For, like, burst? I don't know. Crazy, you want everybody to be building fucking Infernum bone saw? Like, stop talking, bro. Wait till you see this shit. Legacy used to cleanse you when you got below 30%. Now it cleanses you and gives you CC immunity for 5 seconds. 5 seconds, by the way. And they give it tenacity, so you actually get a lot of benefit from the being above 30% too now. You still immune CC, but now you get 5%, 5 seconds CC immunity. Actually an insane item, no cap. Like, it's actually a nuts item. 5 seconds CC immunity is pretty nuts. This is like a hard tank item, though. Hard tank item. This is like a last item tank item, like 5, 6 item. Sorry, not 5, 6. 4 or 5th item tank item. This item is really good. 5 seconds CC immunity is nuts. That is actually nuts. It's like hard to say if it's even good or not, though, because you do have to be below 30%. So, like, if you're below 30%, you might already be dead. So, like, I don't know if it's actually even going to be good or not. The threshold might be too low for it to actually get a lot of value. Kai's going to be SSSS tier. Kai is going to be really good. I'm pretty sure it's just a Chimera patch. I'm pretty sure it's a Chimera patch. Anyways, this change is also like a kind of nuts change. Basically, they changed Lightning Hawk extra crit. What's called increased power. This is 15 power is a lot. 15 power is insane. They removed the movement speed. Who cares? 3% doesn't matter. This I'm pretty sure is different. I think it's a longer slow or something like that. It used to be like it was a 0.3 before or something like that. One's come out Tuesday. This patch is on Tuesday. It's something like that. I don't really care about Lightning Hawk. I don't think Lightning Hawk was that good anyways. But it's just a crit option now, I guess. Megacosm. Okay, they changed Megacosm. I'm pretty sure this item is still good. I'm pretty sure this is still good. So it does less dot damage. Like it still does. It does 4% instead of 5, which is a big nerf. And then it doesn't apply 0.2. Doesn't apply half the passive instantly when you hit somebody with a second hit. It does, I assume, still refresh the Megacosm though. It still refreshes the 4%, I would imagine. But now it does 5% additional every 8 seconds. So this just means you buy Oblivion Crown, you buy this item, you hit somebody once, they take 13% of their max HP. I'm pretty sure this item is still going to be good. I'm pretty sure it's still good. Maybe not as a first item anymore. And like a crutch item you have to build on everybody, but I'm pretty sure it's still going to be good. Move speed is deceptive. I don't think it's not. Like, I'm not saying move speed is bad. I'm just saying I don't think 3% is the difference on this item being good or bad, to be honest. I think move speed is the best item, is the best stat in the game, but I don't think 3% is enough. 8 seconds smack someone for 9% of their health. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think Mega is definitely still good. Like, your this is a buff to burst mages, if anything. This buffs like Gideon and stuff. So characters that it wasn't that good on to begin with, like Gideon, Bellica, you know, Countess, where like it's still a good item, but you don't get as much value as characters that can reproc it over and over again. It's a buff to those characters, but it's a nerf to characters like Gadget and the Fae, where they're not like, where they're just reapplying it over and over again. So it's still like, it's a shift to make it more viable on every character, I think, while also nerfing the problematic characters that abuse it a little bit. It's still a really good item, though. Breeze is gonna have the same build. I don't think Crunch is gonna have the same build because Crunch is more like ability than auto attacks, but he's gonna be pretty strong with some of these changes. Mind Razor. This just means you build Soul Chalice into it, which actually kind of makes it like better, I think. I don't know how good it's gonna be, but I don't see anybody build this anyways. More of just a scaling item. Bankster is nice now. Mickey Mouse, look at me. I execute somebody at 7% HP. Ha 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 ha. Don't talk to me right now. Anyways, okay, this thing I was saying got nerfed, by the way, by them changing the recipe, because they gave Spell Slasher, like the tier 2 thing, cooldown. This is actually a nerf to Oathkeeper, because you build Oathkeeper on mages, right? So when you build Oathkeeper, you would build Chromatic Wand, which would give you cooldown and power, right? So you get 2 stats for 1 item. Now you have to build the tier 1 like Scepter, which is 900 gold for 30 power, and then you have to build Spell Slasher to get the cooldown. So now you have to build 2 items to get the same that you would get from 1 item, basically. This is actually just a straight up nerf to the item, because you kind of want to build it last anyways. And the problem with the tier 2 is that tier 2 only scales off physical, whereas Oathkeeper scales off physical and magical, so you don't get the passive till you finish the item, which I think is a nerf to the Oathkeeper, like low key, but we'll see. I think it's a nerf to the recipe, not necessarily to the full item. You expect Red might be a bit weaker now? Maybe. I don't know. I think having Demolisher might actually still cook, honestly. Painweaver. Do you get extra pen and movement speed when you hit somebody? Stacking. No longer applies to Spell Slasher passive. This is kind of good. It's based off, like, proccing abilities. But, I don't know. They're getting, like, 2-3 procs on this consistently. In team fights. So, I mean, it's just free pen. I feel like it's gonna be good on like Kalari and stuff that you just, like, you know, you're hitting people from a distance, you get a little movement speed, reposition better. I don't think it's a buff. I think it is still like I don't know how good this is actually gonna be, because they didn't change the price or anything, and they lowered the base pen, so like I don't know. We'll see on that one. Renewal. They lowered the lifesteal, or they lowered the base regen, lowered the passive regen from 15 to 12%, and then they made it tick over a longer duration, so each tick is going to be worth less. I mean, it's just a straight nerf to the item. I don't know how it's going to make it, if it's going to kill the item, or if the item is still going to be pretty good, but I don't know. Rayman's still good. Yeah, I feel like it's still good. It's just not going to be as good. I feel like it went from, like, top tier item to, like, you know, on par with some of the other items in the game, which I think is good. Resolution. Okay, this item does damage based on your maximum mana as physical damage on hit over 5 seconds. That is such a weird ability. So you have like 2,000 mana, it's going to do, what, 6% of that? 120 over 5 seconds, so it's going to be doing 20 damage a second. Something like that, 25 damage a second. That just seems kind of bad. And then you get mana back when you auto attack. This item seems kind of bad to me. Dog item, yeah, I think this is just bad. The on hit like duration is too long. 5 seconds is too long for you to get actual value out of this, I think. Sky Splitter. Okay, so they took the crit off of it, removed the lifesteal, increased the attack speed and power, lowered the price. This is like a big shift. It's more of an attack speed item, not a crit item, not a lifesteal item. You're not building it first anymore, although I do think you can still build this item and it's still good. So the base number is decreased from 5% of the current HP to 3%, but every 4th auto, it does 5% of maximum. So I think overall it's a buff, but just a nerf to the crit build, basically. I think this is still a great item. I think this item's still great, personally. Like later in the game, I think this item's still good. Like, you get slapped by somebody, like 5% maximum is a lot. Plus, it's still doing 3%. I don't know. We'll see how good this is. Another Chimera item. You're all right. It is cheap. The problem with this is I think it's too cheap. I think it should be 29 or 3K. I think 28 might be too cheap. We'll see, though. They also changed the what's called the recipe a little bit, but I don't really care about the recipes, honestly. We'll get into that. I don't care about the tier 2s. We'll see those when I actually play in the patch. This item is nuts now, by the way. Basically, they changed the item. They took the crit off of it and the movement speed. Nobody cares. 3% movement speed. It could be a lot, but who cares? 200 less gold. This procs on hit effects. This is actually so giga busted. This is so busted. This now applies on hit effects on the chain lightning. Why? This means that if you hit somebody, even in a 1v1, if you apply the zap, you're applying all your on hit effects twice, because you're applying it on the auto that procs it, and then you're applying it on the lightning. So you're applying every on hit twice when it procs on the person that you hit, which is actually insane. And it's magical. Actually insane item. This is actually like nuts. This item is actually insane, and it's so cheap. I'm pretty sure this item is like giga busted. Like 3rd, 4th item, I'm pretty sure this item is giga busted. That item is crazy. Maybe it's just crazy on paper. Maybe it's not as good in game, but it's crazy on paper, dude. It's better oboe. Well, it doesn't. I don't think it rebounces back to the same people. Whereas oboe and smite, like, it hits one person and it bounces back, and then it hits the same person again. But like, it's still nuts, bro. That item is still nuts. You're gonna make wave clear insane. WSM, dude, thank you for the follow. It's better. I mean, it is better. It just doesn't. It's not better in 2v2s. Like, if you're in a 1v2, oboe would be more than this. This would probably be, to be honest. But anyways, we're gonna talk about smite. Could it be 5-slotted at 15 minutes? Dude, it's actually so nuts. Overall for the better. Yeah, I think overall the patch is better, but some of these changes are just wild. Tainted rounds, more crit chance, less attack speed, more power, cheaper item. They make it so you deal magic damage on hit based on the amount of missing health that they have. Cool. Who cares? It's just anti-heal. Like, you're building this for anti-heal, you're not building it for any other reason, really. You're anti-heal and the fact that you maybe need another crit item nowadays, because your starter items don't give crit anymore. Terminus, they increase the amount of shielding, like the scaling of the shield. So it used to scale up to 80% of your physical power, now it scales up to 100. And then when you kill somebody, you now get the shield instantly. So basically, it's just Bloodforge passive smite. You kill somebody, you get a full health shield. You get a full 100% physical power scaling health shield instantly. It's just straight up buff, honestly. It's straight up buff. Mr. Rager 11, thank you for the follow. This is just straight up buff. I don't necessarily dislike this, though. It is kind of weird to do this change, though, after making Breach not do damage to shields. Not having anti-shield item, but then buffing shielding items is kind of, like, interesting. They did change the path going into this, though, which might actually affect it, because you only get one Crimson Edge now, which means your tier 1 spike is going to be worse. Like, your tier 1, tier 2 spikes, because before you get 2 Crimson Edges, and you kind of can't get poked out of lane. Now that you only have 1, you might be able to actually get poked out of lane. So it's a little bit of a nerf early game in terms of the build path. Perforator. I don't even know what this item does currently, to be honest with you, because I've never seen it built. Basically, you do extra damage based on like a health difference. If they have more maximum health than you, you do increase physical damage to them. Cool. Or you get extra bonus physical damage to them. I don't know how good this is going to be. We'll see how good it is. Good for tank killing, but I don't know. Perforator's Heartseeker. Well, it's like a Heartseeker, but better, because it procs on every ability. and it's based off your physical damage. Wait, yeah. So you just get 40% of your damage. So it depends on how much you're actually doing to them, but I mean, it's just a buff, right? It's or like a buff to whatever the item is, or to junglers. It's gonna make like one-shot junglers kill tanks faster. It's just I mean, it's just good. Did a Kingsbane passive at Terminus? They removed Kingsbane? Or did they change it? Hold on. They did, right? Oh yeah, it's the on hit. Oh yeah. Never mind. You're right. I thought it was just a buff to the passive. You're right though. You're right. Time warp. This is such a weird change. It felt lackluster, but that's just people that aren't good, like aren't smart. Okay, this item is actually really good. This item is really good. It was good before, and now it's like better. So you get the passive less often, but the time you or like every 2 passives, it's a buff, right? Whereas previously it was like every 0.5 you would feel it. So it's a buff to longer cooldowns. Also, it doesn't apply on your ultimate. I thought it did. Good to know though that it does not apply on your ultimate. It's a buff, but also like a slight nerf to characters like the Fae, where you're spamming your abilities on a 2-second cooldown. But I mean, overall, I think it's a buff to like most characters. And I mean, this item, I already thought this item was really good. I think it's just better now. At least on like the characters you want to build it on, anyways. Like you don't even really want to build it on the Fae, so it's more like Bellica, like Gideon type item. I feel like it's just better. Chronos Pennant could never. True, it did. Chronos Pennant 10-second cooldown on the passive. Imagine. Imagine. Anyways, Unbroken Will. This item is terrible now. This item is actually so bad now. They made it so you don't get mitigations now when you're immobilized. Instead, you get 30% of your physical and magical armor for 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure that makes this item unbuildable because nobody cares about your armor or your defense. Mitigation is so much better than magical armor or physical armor. I'm pretty sure this item is just dead. The only time I would ever probably build this item is if I'm into like a 3-4 physical comp and I don't really need magical armor, but I still want physical armor, so I'm going to build this as like a hybrid item because it would still increase my physical while still giving me a little bit of magical. That's the only time I would probably ever build this item. I don't think this item is that good, man. I don't think 30% of your armor is enough. I just don't think it's equal. Like, I don't think the trade is equal here. Like, I think it's like a significant nerf. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. You might be right, Survivor. Maybe it is good, but like on paper, I think this is like not nearly as good as 20% mitigation. No cap, I would probably rather just build the item that gives me 25% like damage reduction. Like no cap. Like I'd probably build fucking Absolution over building this item. Like to be honest with you, I probably would. But I don't know. We'll see when it actually hits the when I actually get to use it. But a full tank with third Fang Tooth buff. I mean, so you're getting 38% of your physical armor and shit. I just don't see this item being that good. We'll see. Like I said, maybe it's one of those ones that like on paper it looks like a big change, like it looks like a nerf, but it's actually like a buff. We'll see. I want to feel that one. It just my first initial thought is that this is a big nerf. $270 armor, you get 80 extra armor. Yeah, but the thing with armor is the more armor you have, the less valuable it is. So the first 80 armor that you, like if you only have 80 armor, that's way more valuable than getting 80 when you already have 270. That's why I don't think it's that good. Because you get like diminishing returns on it, right? Is a nerf, but on a full built tank, that passive is pretty much another tank item. Yeah, but like tanks die in 2 shots anyways, late game. So like, you know what I mean? How much of a buff actually is that? I just see that as a nerf, personally. I told you armor has diminishing returns in his game your mind exploded. I mean, Smite's the same way. I'm pretty sure every MOBA is like that. That armor gets diminishing returns the more you have. There's like a sweet spot in every game. Like even like League, I'm pretty sure there's like a sweet spot where you get like the maximum value, and then you start to taper off and get less value. Every stat works like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure every stat works like that in like every game. Like cooldown, like same way, like most games. Well, I guess cooldown sometimes is just like a hard cap, but in this game it's like infinite, right? But like most games are like that in terms of like defense. Vanquisher, they give it crit chance. Remove the mana passive from it, and it now executes at 7% instead of 5. Pretty sure this makes Kalari a lot better. Maybe you go like a little, like, you get a little tech crit on Kalari, and it just one that, like, you execute at 17% HP with your E, so that's pretty nuts. I don't know. You hate execute items and abilities. I don't mind to execute abilities like Fang Mao, for example, but this type of thing, like 7% execute, I don't like. But, I mean, we'll see how that actually... We'll see how that is. Gonna be a Corridom on Rev. Yeah, what if you, like, one-tap somebody enough that they just get... I guess your Q would proc this, right? And then they would get executed at 7%. That's kind of actually really good. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it is, man. It seems really good, though, on paper. Like, that's a huge buff. And they give it a 25% crit chance and extra pen and power for 100 gold. Like, I don't know. Kind of nuts, to be honest. And then Viper, they give it attack speed and increase the crit chance. I don't really get the point of adding attack speed to this item, because I feel like you can, like, if crit's going to be best, like, busted, like, one of the builds is going to be the best, right? It's either going to be attack speed, it's going to be crit, or it's going to be, like, some hybrid version. I feel like giving an item like this attack speed, when it's a crit item, kind of defeats the purpose, because there's a couple other crit items that also have a lot of attack speed, so, like, I feel like you're going to end up having items compete with each other that you don't want to compete with each other. But I don't know if that's actually going to make a difference. And then bug fixes. Murder passive was granting armor on your abilities. Cool. Only, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. Crit effects were not occurring from item damage. This is actually a good change. It means you can kind of mess around with some cool stuff. Unbroken Will wasn't applying on suppressions. I'm pretty sure the only suppression in the game is Count Assault. Is that correct? There might be two. I don't even know what Warden's Faith Retribution passive is. And then they fixed Platinum from the Epic Store. That's basically it. I don't know. Richter Alt. Is Richter Alt a suppression? Sorry, there